The Fast Life podcast is brought to you by my guys over at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. I have been running Simpsons for the last 4 years, and my helmet collection is getting quite strong. If you're like me and run a new lid every year, I highly recommend one of the many models provided by Simpson. You can check out their website, simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com, for more info to the variety of models and options. Check them out. If you're looking for a place to spend those stimulus checks, check out my dude John Jessup in his shop in Stockton, California. It's the spot for in-house dyno tuning, parts, service, and bike sales. And if nothing else, head on over to teamdreamrides.com, which is offering 100 days same as cash financing on products. All you need is a job and a bank account. And don't forget to give John and the team a follow at DreamRidesJohn on Instagram. My guys over at Lexan Moto, they're growing fast, and they're looking to onboard new dealers in 2020. So whether you're a small independent shop or a 20,000 square foot megastore, Lexan Moto has a partnership that will work for you. With awesome new gear and more shit on the way, Lexan offers very competitive dealer margins, fast shipping, and great customer service. For sure, good customer service. Email them at sales@lexanmotorcycle.com, and be sure to check them out on Facebook at Lexan Moto USA, on Instagram at Lexan Moto, and don't forget to use Fast Life at checkout to save yourself 15% on your entire order. Paint Huffer Metal Flake is continually killing the game. With tons of great pearls, flakes, and other paint-related products, you guys should check out painthuffer.com to see the vast amount of color options and get yourself stocked up with tape and other items needed in the custom paint process. And don't forget to use FastLife13 at checkout for 10% off, as well as give them a follow on Instagram under Paint Huffer Metal Flake. My guys over at ThunderMax, they're going strong through these strange times. And as I have said many times, ThunderMax is your go-to for auto tuning ECM for your EFI-equipped Harley-Davidson, along with their iRide rear suspension setup that auto-adjusts height for you on the fly. Yeah, you should check that shit out. And last but not least, their Touring M8 electric fans that have made a significant difference on my bike. To get more info on these products, head over to Shop Team Max and give the team a follow at ThunderMax EFI on Instagram. Welcome back, guys. This is it's good to be in April, I think. I think we're all in lockdown. I think we're all fucking just weirded out by this year. It's been a weird one, has it not? For those of you still interested, the Campout is still going on. And before you over-the-top dudes start, getting pissed, dude, if you don't feel like coming, don't come. But you know what I mean? A lot of us are still going to be out there. As long as we can move about the country in some kind of form or fashion, then we're going to, it's going to happen. So we're really praying or hoping for the best with this virus to kind of subside and chill the fuck out, basically. But like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, don't worry about it. Don't come out. But there'll be people there. Me and my wife went camping this weekend, had a great time, and hopefully we don't die. So I don't know, man. I don't think it's that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but anyway, I hope a lot of you guys are doing well, and we're going to continue to try to do as much as we can with this podcast stuff over the next month or months, depending on how this whole situation goes down. With, as podcasts regularly as possible. We've been doing Skype interviews, so these things are going to be done that way, which I think has a much better quality sound than the phone podcast. So looking forward to getting some more guests on and maybe hitting some people up I might not be able to catch this year kind of far away. Also, we're going to be doing some live Instagram chats with some people that like tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to be, or today, I guess, when you're hearing this, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be doing a little 30-minute, hour little conversation with Danny G on our Instagram. So if you want to check that out, go to our Instagram and follow it, The Fast Life Garage. This podcast right here is with Big Lance and Gaylin. They're part of the whole thrashing team over there. But recently they started a 2 Lane Life Instagram page, YouTube channel, and their videos are on point. Lance is a good friend of mine and someone I really respect as a rider. And as I'm getting to know Gaylin, I feel the same way about this man. And these guys are doing really cool shit, and I'm very happy to be able to share them with you guys in this form or fashion. So check them out, 2 Lane Life. Their website is up and running. They are dropping a video today. They're doing some cool shit, man. They're promoting exactly what I love to promote myself, getting out and riding bikes and making some experiences out there. So at any rate, thank you guys for all the support. We have some more. I got a skateboard deck I'm knocking out for our Patreon supporters. So if you're interested in getting part of that, you know what to do. Just go to our Patreon, our website, Fast Life Garage, and it's all right there. Won't bother you with that too much. For the rest of you guys, I hope you're all doing well. And I hope that, we can just crank out some podcasts for you the next month or so. So anyway, here's Lance and Gaylin with 2 Lane Life.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
I've got to see if t-shirts are printed.
Yeah, those things look cool. I checked out the website today. It looks
We're
pretty cool.
actually selling shirts like right now.
Yeah, I saw the shirts and the stickers and all that stuff. It looks pretty cool. I really like the when you do the rides, you're putting the map on there with the details on that stuff. I thought that was pretty genius, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
and did you see we had to put a little disclaimer at the very bottom?
Yeah, in case you perish or something like that.
Just for fun, look at that. Look at that board right there, just with like a rough out of our trips coming up.
Damn.
And that's not including the 5-10 that are already in the can.
That ain't bad. That's a lot of weekends.
Yeah.
You got anything planned? Go ahead.
You'll dig our tomorrow drop.
And that was the rest of the Grand Canyon trip, right?
Tomorrow? No, that's next Wednesday. Tomorrow is just a fun ride, rip through the mountains with us.
Oh, okay. Okay, that'd be cool. For sure.
More of a riding video, but really cool stuff.
Nice. Well, like I said, I wanted to, let's start this off. I want to, we've already had you on before, so let's get Gaylin to kind of talk about himself and stuff like that. I know you did a really great video between the two of you guys talking about, your backgrounds and stuff like that, but just for the sake of the audience, Gaylin, you want to tell them, what your profession is and, how you got into bikes and things like that?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick, though, are we live? Are we going now?
Yeah, we're recording right now.
Then he can edit after whatever, right?
If it needs to be. Didn't.
Yeah. So sometimes you just go with the flow.
Yeah,
Got it.
I don't really edit it much because nothing's usually said that's going to hurt either one of us unless one of you guys start dropping some words that we can't use. So
Right. Just a big blurt.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I grew up actually in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we're kind of a middle class family, and my dad was more of an outdoorsman, and so our vacations weren't like to Disneyland or any of those places. It was really more camping and river running, and we have a cabin up in just outside of West Yellowstone, and so and from an early age he was really good handyman and learned trades from his father, my grandfather. So he took a pipe bender and made a little mini bike that you just push with your feet. So from like the age of 3 or 4, when we could walk, he would get us on these little scooter mini bike things. And it really helped us with our balance. And so as we started to ride bikes, we could quickly adapt to that.
it's kind of what they do now with the kids in the Strider bikes, I guess is what they're called.
Yeah, I could send you a crude picture of it. It's really funny. I was showing him a while ago, but and so that led into mini bikes. So we built these, aluminum frame mini bikes with 5-horse Briggs and Stratton on them, and clutch governor or brake system, and you could barely stop. I ran into a corner house once on my block where a sheriff lived, and that didn't go over too well. And then that led into tote goats, and then by the time I was probably 10 years old, I got my first motorcycle was a Suzuki 75. And so I've been riding for a real long time, and it's been kind of a family thing. And then as I got married and had kids, I got my son into doing some riding, and then it turned more into basketball for him.
Yeah.
And so that's how our weekends were spent. And then as they got a little bit older and were out of the house, I've had street bikes in the past, but I got my first Harley about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Which was a Road King, and I wore a brain bucket helmet. I looked like a big dork just cruising around.
Yeah.
Loved the bike, and that's kind of when Lance and I started. We've known each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right. I want to go back one thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So Gaylin's dad is the guy that invented the very first Strider.
I don't know about that, but we actually put a patent on it at one point. We were gonna take it to the malls and have little kids run it and try to sell them there, but that never ended up panning out. But that's really kind of, my background was really family oriented, camping, hunting, fishing, and we were always on a dirt bike or on a side by side, or we were just outdoors a lot. And so I just have a big passion for being out there, and it's that's part of what drove us to do some of the things we're doing now as well.
Man, if you really just took Salt Lake City and you put a 300-mile radius around it, you have so much amazing stuff. Yellowstone, all a lot of the parks of Utah right there within it too. Monument Valley, I think is about 300, 400, 500 miles away. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great place to grow up and be an outdoorsy person. So unless it's the wintertime, then you can go skiing, I guess.
Yeah, to your point, you've got mountains that are 8,000, 10,000 feet, and then you can go down to the desert down in southern Utah, and so you've got kind of some extreme differences. You've got places that you can go ride there that are just epic. The only problem is you can't. Most people there don't ride all year long like we do out here. And Lance and I took a trip last year. We're going to take people on that with one of our vlogs. We took the wives and we hit 11 national parks.
Yeah.
And we did all southern Utah, Arizona, Nevada. So and it's there's a lot of epic riding around us.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I'm over here. Part of me is just really jealous of you guys. You know what I mean? Because I have to go 1,000 miles in almost any direction to hit some really good shit. I don't want to downplay Texas so much. I mean, we do have some good riding within a couple hundred miles, but once you've been to California or Colorado or Sturgis, it's really hard to compare to those kind of iconic scenic places. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's cool because our two Sturgis trips ago, we went to Gaylin's family cabin in Island Park, which is in
Idaho.
Right? Oh, it's in Idaho.
It's just outside of West Yellowstone.
Gosh, I'm thinking it was in Utah, but I was wrong.
No.
Great place, though. We all had fun. It was a great stop on our trip. But anyway, back to you.
No, so I mean, one of the things that is interesting for us is during the winters we ride around here, but in the spring and that's well, I guess I should back up because in the winter we also ride out to Arizona quite a bit. We've been all over that state.
Utah,
but Arizona we've hit everywhere, and it's just because it's typically better weather.
Yeah.
We've been in snow and rain while we've been out on them, but it's generally, a bit better weather than trying to get into Utah or to Colorado or.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't really.
There in Nevada and California, right now we can't go in a lot of roads because there's snow.
Right.
Yeah. They pretty much shut a lot of the Sierras down for the snow, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even like Angels Crest Highway, I think probably gets shut down too. You think?
Yeah, we end up getting caught in the snow, but we usually catch it in the beginning, so it's easy to negotiate your way to the next motel,
The roads don't really ice over, though. That's probably the main thing, isn't it?
We've hit some ice on the rim of the Grand Canyon, but yes, it's not big black ice down the whole highway.
I mean, when it's sleeting and it's getting on the cusp of snow, I flip my gauge to just keep the air temp on so I can see, how cold we're getting, because if we start getting into the low 30s, then we gotta be careful. We rode up a year and a half ago up to the Grand Canyon, and being in Utah, I grew up in the snow. But some of the stretches that we were going across, it was packed. There was ice, snowpack on the road. Even the plows had gone over it, but it was still. Damn. And that stuff is slippery on two wheels.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, one thing, we got up in Williams and it was 14 degrees, and by the time we got on our bikes, it was like 19. We had to creep out of town. Once we made it down the hill, no ice, you're good. But if you're just pay attention to what's on, you're good.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of 20-degree riding, and I don't like it. It sucked. There's pretty much, I don't know if there's many things that can kind of keep that cold out for, after 30 minutes, it pretty much penetrates everything. You know what I mean?
It's all about tolerance and your mindset and how you can make yourself go through it. I love riding in the winter. I mean, hey, we can ride in heat all the time, but the winter to me is like, it's special because things happen.
Now, I've also had the privilege, I guess you would say, of also riding through Death Valley and Joshua Tree at 115. And I honestly can't tell you that. I think we stopped in Baker once, and it was at 119. And that alone, just the best way to describe it is like if you take a hair blower, like a chick's hair blower, and just point it at your knuckles. And just leave it there. And that's exactly what it felt like. I mean, it burns like to where you pretty much need gloves, get all that exposed skin off. So it's a big dynamic, man. So I think I would.
Right.
Yeah, it's both. It's like a lot of people are like, man, I could deal with the heat, but then, there also is that limit, just like there's that limit with the cold. You get into the 120 or the 20-degree weather, it's like the same as if you get into 115, 120-degree weather. So it sucks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'd rather be in the colds, just the layering that you can do, but 20 for a long period of time is just ruthless.
Yeah.
But we also, the first trip we went to Sturgis on, we came down through Needles, kind of where you're talking about, and it was 116 or 117.
Yeah.
And it was just exhausting, almost to the point where, you needed a bottle of water to get, and you couldn't stop. You had to keep going because you just fry outside. We got to the convenience store and we all went in and walked in their walk-in cooler.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like, can you let us in there? Like, we're dying.
And the weird thing about that is the next day we were in Littleton, Colorado in the snow.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. That's the crazy thing about traveling, man. It's really, it's hard. Like, something I know you guys can attest to is like, because I watched the video you guys did about like packing out your bike for the trips. And that's another thing that's really hard depending on how far and how many different places you're going, because those big leather jackets and that really, good cold weather gear can take up a lot of space on the bike once you have to shed it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why we run that big ass luggage sometimes,
Yeah.
But I and it's funny because I don't think I put a leather on in a couple of years.
Yeah, we kind of don't have leather anymore, just layers and a cool jacket and a rain cover.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, when you put a leather on with a rain jacket over it, I mean, you can stay pretty toasty. The thing that I can't keep, in the cold is my knees. That I can wear long johns, but son of a bitch, I get off the bike and it's like, I can barely walk.
Yeah, it's like it freezes them shut. Like you're the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
The only, I mean, I can deal with pretty much heat and cold. The one thing I hate is massive wind. You're tilted sideways, and then what I really hate, I can deal with that, but the disruption of air that the semis put out, like, it's almost like you're losing the front end because it's just shaking you around, and then you get by the side of them and you come out the front and all of a sudden you're back in that wind again, and it's like, which way are you going to lean? Because you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the worst. I love riding, but I just hate the wind.
We were on the Highway 40 coming out of Needles.
Yeah.
And it was 50 to 60 mile an hour winds, and we had our bikes, girls, luggage, and it was a workout.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey,
Well, you got that mountain range just to the south of you, and the winds coming across those and just swooping through that valley. It's the same thing. That trip that I came out there and saw you when we did the podcast together. When me and my guys left Texas, we went through northern New Mexico, and that's one of the windiest places, like northwest Texas into that border to New Mexico and into that Colorado where you start being on 25 going north. Dude, just the wind it's insane. And it takes so much out of you doing that for an hour and a half, just holding the bike against the wind and then countering it. It's almost like if you were fighting and you kept flinching, like it's taking a little bit out of you each time, So
100%. That's why when it's windy, I always just loop Against the Wind, the song. just rock out.
Come on, man.
That sounds like a dad pun right there.
Yeah.
Man, so when did it dawn on you guys? And I guess me and you, Lance, we talked a little bit about it because you were getting hit up a lot about people asking about the riding, and I'm sure you were too, Gaylin, about the whole deal. And so how did the whole process of coming up with this 2-lane life come together? You know what I mean? Like, what was the kind of birthing of it?
Well, I think between our families, Gaylin's kids and mine, and we're saying, hey, you guys do this all the time. You're always gone. Why don't you do something with it? And we said, you're right, let's do something. So it kind of came from our families.
So, yeah, it absolutely did. But we talked about it probably 2 years ago. We're like, and we've got some great support, not only the family support, but luckily, if I roll the tape back a little bit, little Lance, I call him Little Lance. It's Lance Corey that runs Thrash and owns Thrash, and he's not little. I just call him Little. But, him being in the industry and with his company, I think helped us a lot because we got to know some of the guys that he knew.
Yeah.
And so we've been running equipment for 4 years that guys have we've paid for, and we've been given things, and it's just been a gambit over the 4 years. And a couple years ago, we started talking about, we love this stuff, the equipment, all the companies that we do, they're like family members to us. Mm-hmm. How do we really start thinking about showing that and sharing that with people? Because we get questions all the time. What's your windshield? What's your floorboards? What's your brake arm? What's your seat? we all the time.
Do you get a lot of?
It's cool. With what you said, we get guys that he'll tell stuff to, I'll tell, and then next thing you know, they're sending you a picture and they got everything that we have on our bikes and they're on their bikes already. Yeah. And they're excited,
And you get a lot of people questioning about the actual riding and getting off and taking the time off, you know what I mean? And things like that, or the more riding aspects.
They think we're retired. How do you guys get to go and do that? And we're like, we're now 500 miles in a day. We've got it down to where, a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that would be a week-long trip. Yeah. That's a day for us now. That's nothing. We're like, let's go,
Yeah. We do most of our riding on the weekends, and we're not gone every weekend. Mm-hmm. We go maybe once, twice a weekend out, and we're out 5, 6. We just did a 1,000-mile loop 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
It's like you can get a lot of places in 500 miles in a day.
Oh, yeah.
And have time to have fun.
And we enjoy it because we go fast enough where we can, not out of control, but, that we can enjoy the stops along the way. It's not like we're just hammering the throttle and we're, all of a sudden we end up in some place and we have nothing to do and it's 10 at night. No, we stop throughout. We enjoy,
So what kind of pace do you try to keep on, as far as mileage? How fast do you kind of roll on these trips? Keep the speed around.
I think if we're going 80, 85, we're looking at each other like, what's up? And we end up 90, 95.
That's about the
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm comfortable. I feel like I get really weirded out when I get passed by cars. Not like I want to be first kind of guy, but just I don't know what's going on behind me. So the more I'm passing, the less I'm being passed, and I'm making it to where I'm only really worried about what I can see versus, if an 18-wheeler comes and shoots past me because I'm doing 75, on a 75. you know?
Well, here's something funny. We could be riding. We ride side by side a lot and tight, and we kind of know exactly what we're going to do because we probably got a couple 100,000 miles under between just together. You'll see us on the highway, and we'll look ahead. It could be a mile away. We see a bike or a couple bikes, and you'll see our heads look at each other, and now it's on.
Yeah,
we
I do the
have
same thing.
to catch those bikes.
I do the same thing.
And
But, you know, it's also, I feel safer, like you're saying. I like being in front of things, and not because I want to be first, but
no, he wants to be first.
I like to be first, but I feel more comfortable and in command when I'm out in front, so I can see things. You know, I was taught by my father when I started driving, always look for the out. You know, if something's happening in front of you, where are you going?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't know. It's and our bikes are built, and they hum at like 3,200 RPM at 90.
Yeah.
You know, they're it's amazing. We think about how those little engines are just stroking, you know, but they're cruising and they love it at 90.
And there's nothing like you could be in sixth gear just flying 90 miles an hour and give the throttle some juice and you take off. You're like, love having that power.
That's the great thing about the M8 motors. They do have it. So
yes, exactly. And especially if you tweak them a little bit.
Yeah, put a little cam in there, you'll love it. It's the best thing. Yeah,
exactly.
That is the truth. And I've very rarely been pulled over on my Harley, you know. But I came up with that concept back in the day where I used to ride sport bikes because obviously I was hauling ass everywhere I went. But needless to say, as I started slowing down and going with the Harleys, it was more of an offensive move, riding a bike slightly faster than whatever the traffic's doing, you know. So, and like I said, there's nothing like I've done it where I've gotten the highway before and I've just been kind of cruising and kind of in the little la la land kind of mind space, and then some 18-wheeler just hauls ass past you and the air disrupts you and really throws you off balance and throws out your concentration. So, you know, to me, going a little faster, it's got you firing, it's got your head on it. You're paying attention to what's going on a lot more because you're in a more of adrenaline state, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, and we could be going 90 and you'll see us pulling out our phones or GoPros and filming the action, you know?
Now, I was going to bring that up. I thought that was real brilliant of you guys having like necklaces for your GoPros.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like,
it's called Flavor Flav, man.
Dude, I'm stealing that shit. That was good. Because it's like, you think of all the mounts that you buy for your shit, and then it's like you always just want to be able to get that shot of your buddy or something. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, on those GoPros, if you just click the top button, it'll go straight to video.
So you running the 7 or you got the 8 now?
What's that?
You got the 7 or the 8 now?
8.
Nice. I'm still on the 7.
We were ripping down the highway heading into Sedona going 80 miles an hour, and I was doing some phone video, and I went to put it on the mount, and it actually kind of left my hand and hit the 2-lane highway, and I went, oh man, that's the end of it. But I saw it go down, pulled over, you know, a mile later, went back, found it, and it hit so perfect. It slid, and the phone was perfect.
It's like it landed.
Nothing wrong with it. It like glided like an airplane landing.
Nice.
And I found it on the white line, and I'm like, I'm going to turn it over. It's done. I turned it over. I'm like, hey, it's all good.
Dude,
a few little scratches, but
that happened to me on the 75th Sturgis. We had just left Dallas, and the sun's coming up, and I pulled the phone out to take some pictures of my buddies. Fell out right there.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Yeah.
But hey, it happens, you know.
Yeah, I was able to get messages, but the screen was fucked for the rest of the trip.
So back a little bit to what got us started on this stuff.
Uh-huh.
You know, 'cause I don't know that we finished a little bit of that, but so Lance and I about 2 years ago, we were talking about it. About 2 months ago, we really decided. I basically retired. I was a banker, 30 years, and been in the industry for that long on the corporate side. He's run setware. He was a sign painter. He paints helmets. He'll talk a little bit about that later, but he's been an entrepreneur, and we've known each other for a long time. And so I started talking to some guys about how can we boost some sales out on the West Coast for some of the product. And I came to Lance and I said, look, I'm talking to our partners about some of this, and I know that you still have setware. I've got time to do it. And he said, well, why don't we kick off our decision on what we talked about on our channel? And then we went and talked to little Lance. Lance Jr. And he's like, yeah, you guys should. You've got a vibe. People have been talking to you for 3 or 4 years. You've got a vibe.
Yeah.
My family was like, you've got a vibe. And so, we tossed around a few names, and we just decided our first Sturgis trip, one of our buddies, Luke, said he loves the 2-lane life. And so that's always kind of stuck with me. Like, let's go find the 2 lanes. And we started bouncing around some ideas and names, and we settled on 2-lane life because that's mostly what we do.
Yeah.
Is try to get off the freeway and get on the highways and the roadways that are smaller. And so what's really been interesting, and it's a shout out to the people that maybe it's because we've had a little bit of a following, but our channel's doing well. We don't have 20,000 subscribers yet, but we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Instagram's cruising. We're getting our website is built. We will have it, finished next week, where you'll see all the product that we run on our bikes, and that we've told people about.
Yeah.
And we can trust in it that it's good stuff, And so it's really within the matter. We formed the company February 12th.
Nice.
So it's only been a few weeks, and
we've done more.
We're cruising.
We've had a lot of vlogs and stuff going on already, but we love it. So it's actually our life, our passion. Get on your bikes.
I don't know what the end of the day brings with it. We hope what happens right now is that we create, especially the country's going through all this crap right now, and the world is going through it. And we've got subscribers around the world that have asked how we're doing over here. And hopefully right now what it provides is just a little bit of flavor of our passion. And I don't know if it ends up being a travel vlog at the end of the day, if it's more of a fun vlog. But right now it's around kind of what our passion is, which is getting out and riding and having fun and seeing little places. We knew Trump was going to get elected before Trump got elected, because we were in little towns in Arizona, and they had painted their gas stations and their buildings with spray paint saying Trump.
Yeah.
And you knew that there was a movement happening in the middle of the country in these, smaller towns that it was just, we were talking about it going, like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
He's going to win this thing.
Yeah.
And he won the middle America, that was his deciding vote.
Yep.
Crazy.
I was going to ask you something, kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm tripping. Yeah, this virus thing is pretty wild, man. It's, one thing I guess I kind of brought up to you guys yesterday that, I preach a lot about riding and getting out and taking those trips, especially if you are fortunate enough to have a close friend like you guys are. A lot of people are on bikes in the middle of America or anywhere. They're in LA right now, and they just don't have friends that can go and take the weekend off like you guys are and go hit the roads. You know what I mean? They might have to just do the Neptunes thing or something like that. But
well, that's an interesting point that you're bringing up, because we kind of dig the same stuff. So if we're like, hey, what are you doing today? I don't know. You want to ride to Sonora, California? It's like 7 hours away, but we can. Yeah, let's go. Boom.
Yeah.
We've never had a conflict. It's like, let's just go run, and we're going to find some good food and drinks, and it's always, let's do it.
That's what it was. I enjoyed that part about the videos, like when you guys would show the different little hole-in-the-wall bars and restaurants that you go check out. It just makes it more like a travel vlog, I guess you'd say. And it's just a different taste on it, man. And I'm a huge lover of just getting out on the bike, getting on the 2 lanes like you guys do, and showing the part of the country that so many people skip. You know, when I first started riding across country, I did the same shit. I skipped it. I'm like, you know what? The destination's California. Fuck everything in between here and there. Just get there.
Right.
10 there. Damn, in Cali. But then you start seeing all these amazing places and roads and towns and shit that you could go check out. That's just 5 miles off the highway. You know,
Take you that much longer.
I mean, people ask us all the time. One of our questions is, so how's Sturgis? And our answer, whether it's me, Lance, Gaylin, Dom, Luke, the guys that we go with, it's getting there was awesome and getting home was awesome as well.
Yeah.
Sturgis, we were at Sturgis. It's the journey to and from that is the badass part of it.
So last year, y'all went straight north, right, and then cut over to Sturgis? So what was that? What did y'all do? What was y'all's route that way, that time?
Yeah, that was a little bit longer ride. We went up the coast in California, up into Oregon, and then we cut across into Portland, and we went up the Columbia Gorge, which was just spectacular. Then we had a little time in Washington, cut through Idaho into Montana, and then down into Sturgis. So it was, and it's funny because every year seems like something different happens. And like 2 years ago, we were at a hotel in Reno on our first night, and some guy texted Lance and said, "Hey, we're at the same hotel. Can we ride with you?" And so we ended up picking up 2 additional riders. And last year we were in Portland having dinner, and a bunch of guys started texting, and next thing you know, we have 4 or 5 guys sitting there, eating dinner with us that we don't even know. Sea Bear knew one of them, but then they escort us out of town and they take us down a really dope way and show us a road that we would, just to your point, that was 2 miles off the road that we wouldn't have found. And we ended up just blasting up this river and gorge, and it was spectacular.
And, everyone that goes with us, we have myself, Lance, my son, Gaylin, Luke, Sea Bear, Dom. We had Alan McBee, who builds all our bikes. It's like a core group of guys that are really great riders. I mean, I've learned so much from riding with these riders.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have just been a cruise around guy, but now I'm like, I've changed my whole riding vibe, but we trust each other. We all like the same thing. You can have 8 to 10 guys and we all know each other, and there's never an argument. There's never, I don't want to eat there. We just all go together. We're all into the same adventure, and it's a blast.
That's because the women stay home.
Yeah, exactly.
If you took the women, you'll never get I don't know, where do you want to eat?
Yeah. Well, I will say this, though. I agree with that 100%, but when we do go on trips with our wives, they're just like us.
Yeah.
Never do. They do whatever. It's easy.
It's funny on those Sturgis trips, too, because we're the old guys. Right?
Yeah. But you know what? You know what I think is cool? What I think is really cool about it is that, like, you guys are clearly older, whatnot, but like your vibe and your style is very, like I hope that, when I'm your age that I fucking am doing what you're doing, so I think it's really appealing to my generation and definitely generations younger than me, because I'm kind of old too, man. I don't know why I act like I'm, I'm 20, almost 40 over here. But, but the thing is, like, no, it's a different look. And I think that a lot of, like you come out this way and bikers kind of your age, which I don't really know what your ages are, but just, I don't know, is it like early 50s, mid 50s, early 40s?
I'm 53, and Lance just turned 60 this year.
Wow.
Screw that. I'm not 60.
But no, that's the thing. It's like I think that a lot of people could use a new influence of what it is to be a biker. What does a biker look like in 2020 at 60 years old, or 55 or 50 or 40, Right. So, and
that's a cool thing. We go from 60 to 50 to 40 to 20s, 30s, and 20. We have the whole gamut, and the young guys dig us, like us around. They respect us, and we're like a family. It's like we treat each other the same way. When I'm hanging out with my son, it's not like, "Hey, Dad." It's like he'll say, "Hey, Dad, move out of the way. You're bugging."
Yeah.
We vibe. We have fun.
Well, and there's a respect there. I mean, they affectionately call Lance Pops. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they call me camp counselor.
Yeah, he's camp counselor.
Better not be touching them.
That's funny.
Man. But no, I think that is a good thing about it, though, is you guys kind of have a cool style to you, and that kind of comes off in the bikes and the way you ride, and I guess, you know, who you're riding with, too, you know. So some big names in the industry, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that we're typical Harley kind of guys, the average guy, but I hope that we appeal to all of it, you know. And we switched our accounts again 2 years ago when we started talking about this. A year ago, we switched our Instas to business, just so we could see and track the activity and see, you know, what our reach was. And we had last year combined, we had $4.7 million impressions. Off our two accounts, and we only have. He has 6,000 followers, and I have 3.
I mean, I would like that to have been dollars, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't dollars.
It was impressions.
Yeah, thanks.
But I mean, but it's definitely cool to say, hey, we ride with an X Games gold medalist. We ride with Sea Bear, and we'll be in a beautiful canyon with pine trees and a river right next to it. We're all pulled over, hanging out, and Sea Bear's burning out down the road doing donuts and. And you're standing there going, okay, we got like stunt shows and cruising, and we're all just laughing and having a great time.
Wheelie Bros.
Y'all need a fucking real film crew following you guys on the Sturgis trip. That'd be a show I'd watch for sure.
Well, this next week we will have.
Yeah.
We got a guy, Josh, who's working with us on our filming for our vlogs now, and tomorrow we're dropping a video, just a surprise video. It's kind of different. It's going to be more riding, but it's really cool shots. So. We're going to do a lot more of that.
We also have someone that's one of our partners has expressed interest in maybe sending a crew out and following us. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. And because we've talked about that, it'd be fun just to. We're kind of nutty, you know.
Yeah, we'll be riding down a farm road in Bakersfield, and I'll be cruising around, and, you know, he's right next to me usually, and then I'll look and he's gone, and I look over and he's on the dirt tractor road going 90 miles an hour with roosting smoke and I'm like, that's a CVO, and there he is. You know, we got some on tape. You know, he does hill climbs on it. It's like sometimes we'll be out in the middle of nowhere looking for somewhere, and I'll go, okay, well, how do we get to that road? And I go, oh shit, I see a dirt road, and Gaylin's going to be on it, and that means I have to go follow him.
Well, I really, I don't know if y'all weren't doing the video yet, but y'all went through a certain part of like southern Utah that was kind of all dirt roads around what was that pass called?
The Moki Dugway.
That's right. Yeah. That thing, the video that y'all had of that looked pretty badass. It was a little bit off the path. I wasn't going to be able to make it on my last trip that I was down there, but it looked cool as shit though.
Well, it's funny. The GPS was taking me somewhere else. But as we were trying to get into Mexican Hat. Yeah. And there was a sign that said, you know, Mexican Hat 25 miles. And I looked at the GPS and it's like 60 miles or something. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I just turned right. And then we were cruising and I wasn't paying attention. And Lance saw a sign that said unpaved road ahead. I didn't see that.
And I'm going, great, here we go. We're going to a dirt road, and we got the chicks.
So that's how that ended up happening. Otherwise, we would have been, you know, if I followed the GPS, we would have missed that whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was epic. I mean, his wife Laura was one that captured the footage, and it was just beautiful, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it was awesome.
It's definitely rideable. Any rider can do it. Now, the thing that's cool on to this kind of note is when we ride. We usually plan the first night, and after that, it's like free for all because we have no idea where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
I mean, we could be riding and go, what's that road right there? Hey, next thing you know, we're on it, and we're off our directions. But we don't care because something cool always happens.
Yeah.
So that's a be free when you're out. You know where you're starting, and you know where you're ending.
Sorry, I had to get a refreshment.
Just get there somehow, you know?
Yeah, if you can do, you know, for us, like I said, being in Texas, like we, you know, usually when I leave on a big trip, like a 2-week trip that I'm doing, the first day is usually between 8 and 1,000 miles just to get as far away from here as we can.
Right.
And that's mainly because from here to, like, if we go up like our main highway up north to 40, you know, it's like 350 miles just from here to Amarillo. And then Amarillo's where we start seeing a different kind of terrain, if that makes sense. We start seeing more of the plateaus and the desert and whatnot. And then, you know, it's like 100 miles after, about 150 miles past Amarillo, then you start finally seeing mountains in New Mexico. Right. So it's like when I went on the trip where I came by Thrashing that time we did the podcast, we went from Dallas to Colorado Springs, which was 820 miles or something like that. And we got there stopping plenty of time during the day. We stopped at a dealership and had to wait for a little storm to pass. And then we got there, set up our tents at the base of Pikes Peak. And then we all jumped in an Uber and went to, you know, into downtown College, or what is Colorado Springs, and had a couple beers and had some dinner and had a good time, you know?
Awesome.
So
that's awesome. That reminds me of how we like to do when we go to Sturgis. We go to Deadwood, or we've been to all the different places, but we like to get a house and we like to be able to walking distance from the town so we can leave our bikes and go drink and, you know.
You definitely don't want to ride around there and drink anymore. Dude, I got pulled over twice last year.
Well, last year they were cracking down. And that started in Laughlin as well. Mm-hmm. And I hope that they don't ruin the vibe there.
The vibe was off last year.
Yeah, it was really weird. And
we still didn't get bothered, though. No,
but we only spent a couple days typically in Sturgis. I mean, because it's the journey there and back, as you said earlier. But, you know, and it's a challenge in Sturgis, as you know. I mean, there's so many bikes, and there's some people that, you know, quite frankly, shouldn't be running those black hills on their bikes. And it's I mean, they just haven't really had the opportunity ever, I don't think, to run mountains, you know, or curves. They've been on the flatland, like out in Texas as long, not you guys so much, but maybe the other side where Michigan and kind of that where there's not a lot of, you know.
Yeah, it's real flat,
Yeah, and it's scary sometimes around them.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, we do our Campout, and that's at the base of you know, in southeast Oklahoma, there's Talamina, and it's like a couple little small mountain ranges, probably maybe 4,000 feet kind of size mountains and stuff. So nothing huge, but maybe even bigger. I don't know. I think it's around 4,000. And dude, those level changes are pretty tough because they have a road that it literally carves on a whole little mountain range. It's just the top, and so you're up, down, and if you're not used to riding terrain and you know, curves, like a downhill spiral turn, dude, that fucks me up. And I've ridden quite a few places, and that still throws me for a loop every once in a while where I have to pucker up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like going to Death Valley and you're 200 feet below sea level. Next thing you know, you're 5,000 feet up, you know, in Beatty. So I like terrain changes.
But, you know, and I think people on the bikes, when you're on an 850-pound bike plus yourself, you know, and you gotta be used to kind of that pucker factor, you know.
Well, it comes into play when you set up the bikes the way you guys do and the way I do, you know, more performance bagger oriented, where you can travel on the bike and then you can posture up and get ready to hit the corners when they come with your pack and your wife. And, you know, that's the greatness about these baggers, man.
Yeah, we love it.
Totally.
But you mentioned, you know, camping. And when we've gone up to Kern we call them the kids. The kids camp out. Lance and I, when we camp out, we're in a motel somewhere. We're not in a tent. I'm trying to talk him into that, but, you know, it's really hard. He likes to have a nice bathroom somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that on the videos. No, I get it. I think that the camp thing is, you know, the way I try to like get people to think about it is it's just an extra experience being out there. You know, when you're sitting around the campfire, when you're sitting around, you know, the campsite, you just get to, you know, you get to spend more time and get into more conversations and you know, or you know, shoot the shit or talk shit about one of your buddies and, you know, make fun of them. You know, just, you know, it's fun. Otherwise, you know, you go to your hotel room and the night's over. You know
Well,
what I mean?
that's in the same note. When we go to Sturgis, we've done different ways. Usually houses or a cabin, but
Yeah.
one year we had the
Hotel.
hotel, and it was a bummer because at the end of the day, you'd go back to your room and you wouldn't be hanging out with your bros.
Exactly.
So we like the house or that vibe, so you can all sit around and have a beer. And,
But I think I'm going to get him into a tent situation. Not him. We're not sleeping in the same tent, but I got to get him outdoors. He's an outdoorsman.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me. But I know what you're saying too. Like the fires at night, and it's mesmerizing, and then just having the conversation.
there's one place I do that.
Yeah.
Boulder or Page, Arizona, out where Powell is, where that camper was there.
Oh, up on top there.
And at night, the
Yeah.
stars are amazing. I do
Yeah.
it there.
Dude, we on our trip out there last year, we camped at a Big Sur, and I actually really liked it there. It was
Nice.
I think the whole time we were there, it was real muggy and foggy the whole way down from San Francisco down. But man, like Big Sur, there's all those campgrounds right there, and there's rivers kind of coming out of the mountains there, and I really enjoyed it. Perfectly cool weather,
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I knew you came through. What were you on vacation, or what were you doing?
Usually once a year, since 2016, no, 2015 was the first year I did it. I would do a trip from Dallas to San Francisco, and I'd always take a big loop. So I have a real big pet peeve about coming back the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
Even when I go to
Yeah.
work every day, I like take the highway and then the streets and the highway and the street. It's my thing. You know what I mean? So every year it's been like a different map or different plan to go to San Francisco. And then usually, I'm taking a friend or two with me that's never done it. So, I'm taking them to see the bridge. Then we're probably going to ride PCH if it's open. There's been mudslides. This is the first year. Last year was the first year it was open for us. Other than that, it was mudslides for 2 years, I believe. And and so, then we take them to L.A. And like I said, my wife is from L.A., so she has a lot of family there. And so I stay with her aunt down in Venice, and then her dad lives over in Chatsworth. Or
By us.
Yeah, I think he's in Chatsworth. He might be in Van Nuys right now. I'm not sure. I can't remember where he lives right now. But so I just got a lot of family out there, and we do the trip every year. And I used to fly back and forth to NorCal, so I have a lot of friends up there that I used to paint bikes for. So this was kind of my it makes it easier for me to take that trip because I have all these people I can crash with. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then cheap hotel here and there. And then the last 3 years now, we've introduced the camping aspect into it, and that's saved me so much money.
Oh
Yeah. Sure.
So
for sure.
No, that sounds like a great run. And I'm with you. Like if I take out MapQuest or Google Maps and I peel it down and I look for the small roads everywhere.
yeah,
And I've kind of been the guy with the map typically in our rides, just because I try to find the smallest little roads that you can get on, and still not make bad time.
He's the camp counselor. He's supposed to.
Yeah, I'm
find
the
us
camp
routes.
counselor. I got to find we were up in Bodie, which is an old ghost town that was people just walked away, and the buildings are still there, and the stuff that was left in the houses are still in the houses, so you can look through the windows.
Have you ever heard of Bodie?
no. Was it in one of the recent videos y'all did on the?
No, you should look it up, and then when you come out, if we could figure out a way to get you over there, it's pretty cool. But we were sitting in Lee Vining and eating lunch, and I'm like, what the hell road is this? And we just decided right then and there we were going to go down to Bishop, and we said, no, let's take the road. Well, it ended up being the backside of Yosemite, which I'd never been through. And it was an epic ride, and we ended up down at Course Gold and spent the night there. But you're on the road, you try to find these little places.
And we spent the night in an old hotel that used to be a World War II PTSD place where guys would go and try and get. And so they say it's haunted, but it was like so much history. It was really great.
That's cool.
And we would have found that if we,
Right.
So I commend you on trying to, find these new roads to San Francisco and do the loop differently.
Yeah, and on the big trips like that, we to make time, because we do the San Francisco. The first time I ever did it, we did it in 9 days there and back, and it was like I was constantly behind schedule, right? So it became it became where like it was more of a hassle to do the trip than, I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it was just a pain in the ass, right? So we started, the sweet spot for it is about 14 days. And what we would do is basically we would camp at all the coolest places to camp. You know, Monument Valley, Pikes Peak. I think we camped Big Sur. We camped in Reno in my friend's backyard that lives on the mountain, so we got to see the whole, you know, town of Reno.
Nice.
We camp at the cool places, and then we get hotels, and we did an Airbnb in LA, and we did an Airbnb in San Francisco. And then we did a big hotel in Vegas, you know, so we went to Vegas and did the whole Vegas thing. And, you know, we pick the best situations in the cool places and do it that way. You know what I mean?
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And
you got to run some freeway in it. You just have to, you know,
and
if you want to get anywhere.
What really changed me on getting off the main highway and get onto the back roads was the second year I was doing this trip to California. We were taking the 40 route to Vegas. And we were kind of, you know, early stages of planning, so I didn't really, or actually the day of going. And then someone geotagged the Monument Valley place on Instagram, and this is 2016, so I didn't really know about it. I knew about the place, but I didn't know where it was. And then when I saw how it was only X amount of miles off of 40, and I saw how I could go from like Albuquerque up north and then kind of catch it and then come back around the Grand Canyon back to 40, I was like, dude, this is an awesome little detour. And it ended up becoming one of my most favorite places to go check out. You know what I mean?
Great.
Yeah, we camp there every year now that we go through there. There's a campground called The View. It's on the Arizona side, on the back side of the Mittens, I guess is what they call them. And it's really badass because there's like wild horses there. And so they just come up to the campsites and just, you know, see what you got laying around and shit like that. It's just a really cool vibe, you know what I mean? And the stars are amazing.
Monument Valley 3 times before we could see it.
For real?
It snowed us out one time. It rained us out one time. Right? Yeah. And then we finally got to see it.
Nice. The second year on my FXR, I didn't get to see it because I had an axle nut fall off in Mexican Hat. Actually, no, it wasn't in Mexican Hat. That's where I noticed it. So when we got to Mexican Hat, I was freaking out because I'm in the middle of nowhere and the axle nut on my swing arm came off. And so I zip tied and duct taped it on to hopefully not come off. And if you're in Mexican Hat going into Arizona, so we were camping that night, so we camped. And then the next morning, instead of going back to see the Monument Valley in the daytime because it was night, I went straight to that town to find a nut at the Ace Hardware they had. They ended up having one at the next town in front. So
really,
ended up doing I found out through a picture that I had took at a gas station just when we passed, like right past the Four Corners. There's a gas station in like Athens or something like that. And I took a picture of the gas station sign and my bike and the kind of the scenery. And I noticed that the axle nut was gone there. And that was 80 miles before, or it was 60 miles, 60 miles before Mexican Hat, where I noticed it. And then Mexican Hat to the campground was 30, and then it was 50 to the Ace Hardware. So
yeah,
you're lucky, man,
dude. Yeah, it kind of defines me now. So
yeah,
yeah. Well, it's fun. We I don't know what your route looks like, but you should also at some point try to go to Horseshoe Bend if you have, and you can cut up through the backside.
Where's
the
Horseshoe
89
Bend?
Up through? That's up in Payson, Arizona. Page. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's right past the Hoover Dam. Is it Hoover?
No.
What's the
Lake Powell?
Lake?
Right?
Powell.
So we did that. I think we did that. I don't know if we did that. I know that we came from Zion down to this last year when I came to see you. We went Vegas and then Vegas to Zion and then Zion to Monument Valley, but we dipped back through Arizona and back up into Utah.
So you missed Payson there, and that's the Horseshoe Bend that's
Not
been
Payson.
or Page,
Arizona.
but it's a spectacular view, you know. So when you get a chance, and you can look it up. The different photos of that thing and the different shades. I mean, it's just amazing.
Nice. Yeah, that place. Yeah, the next one, Lance was telling me about. What's the one by Tombstone that you were talking about? I keep forgetting the name.
Bisbee.
Bisbee. So I want to check.
Speed.
Yeah, I want to check that out now. And then I think I'm not doing the San Francisco trip this year, but I think later in the year I'm gonna do a I want to do the Bigsby.
Yeah.
Bisbee.
Bissbee.
All right, I want to do that
BSB.
and go back into like far southern California, like around the San Diego area. I've never this last January when I came out there and saw you. That was the first time I'd ever been there, and now I want to ride it just to see all that stuff. Now go through all that different shit down there. So I'll probably end up doing that probably around September. Come out there for a week or two.
You should let us know. We'll meet you somewhere. There's Brawley, which is just it's crazy. But once you get out of Brawley, and you can get up in the mountains, southern San Diego, up into Idlewild and some of the other. There's some nice riding up through there as well.
So what are you guys thinking about? Like, I keep messing with Lance about this, but when are you gonna make it out to Texas so I can show you some baby shit, some baby mountains?
We probably will do something. We want to get into New Mexico, into that area, but hey, we're going to be doing something. We might be doing a coast to coast, so we'll do some stuff where we're going through Texas for sure.
There's some hidden gems here.
Yeah, I'd love to go check it out. One of the things we've been talking about, we're trying to think about content and stuff for our vlogs, but there's this Iron Butt 1,000-mile challenge. We think we could do that pretty easily.
Oh yeah, it's easy.
But what's kind of intriguing right now is they have the 48 states in 10 days. Which is kind of, to me, is interesting. I think we could do it easily in 10 days, but because it's only like 800 miles a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
One. Yeah, I mean the you could probably do a couple of the 800 miles, not too bad, but they start to take a toll. I've my first time to California on this trip that I was talking about earlier. I was doing like the first day was 1,100 miles. We did Dallas to Phoenix. We did the Iron Butt, and that's not hard. I've actually did that a couple of times. But the next day from there to LA was another, what was it, 400? How many miles is it? 350?
400.
400-ish. And
yeah.
we actually went to Chatsworth that day, so it was like, it was a good ride. And then from there, never ridden the coast before that day. Never ridden the coast before. So we thought, you know what, let's start in Venice. And we're going to Livermore. Needless to say, we made it to Livermore at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It made for one of the most epic, PCH rides I've ever done, but also the worst one I've ever done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're not even to Big Sur yet, and the sun's setting on the ocean, and it's just amazing. And then the sun's gone, and you can't see shit out there.
Well, we kind of like to do the bikes are in before the sun's gone.
Yeah. I agree.
But the last Sturgis trip, we went up the coast and we were behind. There was, every time we go to a gas station, they say, don't take your helmets off. Next thing you know, guys, helmets off. He's over there drinking a White Claw, and you're like, all right. So we were behind every day. We made it to Sturgis how we wanted to. Yeah. But it was like the race was on.
Yeah, but we'd love to do a Texas run, and maybe we've got a lineup of about 10 or 15 rides that we're looking at this year that are must-dos, and so we'll have to add the Texas loop at some point to our must-do here.
I did get a chance to ride in Texas. Lance was doing X Games, and he was doing some announcing with Harley, and Harley had some road glides set up for us, and we rode around Austin area.
Yeah, Austin's pretty nice. Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
There's quite a bit of little, we have a lot of history too here. There's some pretty cool shit. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad state to ride in. I guess it's for me though, like riding here for the last, almost 16 years now. it's kind of boring to me now. But for somebody coming here that's never ridden it before, it could definitely be nice and a different vibe. You know, when I left Sturgis last year and went home, I went straight through Kansas and Nebraska, and you know, it's like technically you would say like this is the most boring thing in the world, but same thing. I was on the small roads. I got off the main highway, and I was like, dude, like you know when you're riding and you just get that feeling of like just goodness all over you because you're in this really good vibe, feeling, scenery, scenario. I get that, man. I'm just sitting here. There's cornfields. I can't see past them, but this feels cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
how about the times you're out there in areas like that and you see a house and you're like, somebody lives there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They live there, you know?
Well, my family background is they were farmers on my mom's side up in Idaho. And so I love going through kind of that farmland stuff. I love it really when the sprinklers are on or when it's rained and the smell you get from that and that vibe that you're just out there, you know, and sometimes it's like you can just see for miles of rolling like grain fields or potato. I mean, it's just gnarly.
Well, just like I-40 from here to Laughlin, it's a 4-hour run, but it's across the desert. But it's mountains, and then people, that's such a bad run. You go through, but when you see it, and you see it in springtime and winter, and the right lighting, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, this stuff's actually kind of cool. We did a loop not too long ago, and next thing you knew, we were in the back. We went from the 15 to the 40, and we were in Nipton, and these places that I've never seen ever, and can't even believe they're there. But we were riding across the desert, and it was awesome.
It was in full bloom.
Yeah.
Green and flowers, and just, I mean,
we've seen Death Valley green with flowers.
Right.
You know.
Nice. Yeah, it really is that, man. Like you know, I think that chasing the mountains all the time, like there's really nice shit everywhere. You know, I always like to say it like this, like if you just look at the part of Forrest Gump where he's running across the country and all these cool ass places he ran, it's the same feeling. The way the cinematography of that, the way they caught it, it's the same feeling when you're riding in a place like that. When you're in some Mississippi style place going around like these, you know, property lines and the, you know, trees with the wisp hang, you know, like I don't know what the fuck they call. We used to rip them off and beat people with them. Little trees with the little wilting willows or some shit. But all these places have like cool vibes, man, and you just got to tap into that and not just think that like, oh, it's all, you know, Sturgis or all, you know, mountain rides or coastal rides. Like there's some cool shit everywhere, man.
Everywhere. And the fun part about it too is like he'll walk in and, you know, we'll start talking to some guy and all of a sudden you get the whole history of the town, and like you don't get that at Chili's, right? Like when you're at the Outpost Saloon or you know, restaurant or whatever the hell it is, and you're in a small town and you start, and both of us have no problem with talking, right? So we start opening up a dialogue, and next thing you know, you're learning everything about the valley and the town and this, and it's. I think that's, you know, we try to convey that. I hope we do that in our vlogs and get better at doing that. And we'd like people to go experience that. Not all of them can, but hopefully they can experience it through us a little bit, you know.
What's really weird is when you walk into a bar in Arizona and the people in there know who you are because they saw you and remember you.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but that's a cool thing about the as you start growing this channel, if you haven't already, like you said up in Portland when the guys came out and had dinner with you, I think that's one of the coolest things is when like people that follow me on social media or whatever, when they see that I'm going to be coming through this town, that they're like, yo, dude, come by here, you know, this great steaks or good food or whatever. And, you know, you get to know somebody that you probably would never really, I wouldn't say you wouldn't try to know, but, you know, when you have 6,000 followers or 6,000 friends on a page, I mean, can you get to know every one of them? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard, you know?
Right.
So, but this gives you a chance to kind of meet people and get to know them in their situations. And the other thing that I try to do is I try to be that guy for people coming through Dallas. You know, I try to be the guy who's like, hey, man, when you coming through, let me see if I can shuffle things around and I'll come out and have a beer with you or, you know, show you this cool restaurant. And I try to make it a point to do that, to kind of pay it forward to the people that's done it for me, and even offered my couch to people plenty of times. You know what I mean? As long as they're not sketchy.
Yeah. You know the guy Munster from back east on Instagram?
Yeah.
Black Road Glide. Well, he's been talking back and forth with us and kind of got a nice dialogue going. We're probably going to meet him end of April something on the way. He's coming out here. We'll meet him somewhere, Arizona, New Mexico, and ride a little bit with him,
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing about social media.
It is. I mean, that's kind of what we started doing with our Campout thing too, is we get people coming from everywhere to it. And it's really, a lot of people are asking me if it's still going on right now because it's at the end of April. And, I don't fucking know, man. This virus thing is weird. I think as long as everybody's off of not in some kind of quarantine where they're not supposed to be out, then I think it'll happen. But if half of the cities are still where you're not allowed to leave your house, like it is in Dallas, it'd be hard to kind of throw an event. You know what I mean? That
right.
It's like getting. How is it out there right now? They got y'all like staying at home, or?
I think a lot of people are staying at home, but a lot of people are still out. I mean, we're coming to the office every day. We have a small amount of people. It's not like there were a bunch of people around here, but it's kind of locked in. My daughter's locked in, but we're not locked in.
Yeah.
I don't get sick that much. Not that I'm saying I'm never going to get sick, but I'm just going to live my life right now. You know, I'm not going to do anything stupid, but I'm going to live my life.
Yeah, he's nuts. Anyway, no. So look, it's crazy out here because I think there's some really good things that'll come out of this. Like people are spending time with their families, and for the longest time, we'd go to a restaurant and you look around and there's a small family and everyone's on a damn device. They're not even talking. This is forcing some of that, social aspect to come back in. But there's also people out there, like they had to close some beaches down. They've had to close some mountain trails down because people were congregating and trying to be outside and get exercise and different things, but not being smart about it, And I think it could be interesting. It was funny on the news last night. They started showing tanks rolling up on train beds, rolling up through LA, up through Chatsworth, and it's the media pushing, like, before they actually tell you what's happening, they just show this thing. It's like are they trying to scare you?
It's like clickbait. They want you to stick around and watch it.
Absolutely.
I don't like the media.
And so the funny thing at the end of the night was, well, they're headed to do an exercise up in Northern California. So why do you even have that crap? Like you're just scaring people.
Exactly. And even here in Texas, like I live in the county just south of Dallas County, by 3 miles, mind you. So if I was 3 miles over there, I'd have to carry a paper around to show that I'm essential.
Right.
But the like I don't know, like I don't know enough about the whole thing to really have a valid opinion about it. I don't know. My wife's a hairdresser, or actually a barber, more honestly. So she's been out of work for a week now, and I think we'll be fine. We got money saved up and things like that, but her boss's business, like I'm worried about him. Paying the rent on that property for the next, for the rest of the month, and then maybe even next month, depending on how long this quarantine thing goes. Like that's the
gotta
real
get
scary.
that loan.
Well, a couple things. There's been a lot of stuff happening from a financial perspective, and so people like that should contact their lender. And talk about deferring payments, because that's part of the stimulus piece that people have enacted. There's SBA loans that are out there for employers that are going to keep their employees. It's kind of murky and messy right now because there's just such a demand. But small business owners, medium-sized business owners should, go do some studying and research on this stuff, because there's a way you can help yourself financially. Maybe deferring 3 months worth of payments and it's added on to the back end of the loan.
Yeah.
But you don't to do it now, because I worry about that too. For this quarantine is, it's had a major effect on people, and you see the businesses that are, shut down, or a takeout, or hairdressers or barbers or non-essential. I mean, how do you deal with that? And so that fallout hasn't even hit yet.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of unfolds. I don't have enough knowledge on it either, but for those people that are in business, we're talking with a few guys around here that own their own businesses, and we're having a call tomorrow with them, and we're going to go through, me being the former banker, we're going to go through what are some of the options that they can explore to shore up, because they're trying to keep employees paid. They're trying to do the right thing, but some people can't. They've got to lay people off. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
On the whole media thing and the whole everything, it's bad for someone like me, because I'm kind of like a rebel wrangler, do my own thing, don't follow the herd. I'm like, so I'm kind of bad. I want to just get on my bike and go, see ya.
Trust me, like this weekend they had to cancel it, but this weekend down South Texas, mainly towards like New Braunfels and Austin, there was a big show that was going to go on. It's one of our favorite ones because there's really great camping, and they canceled it, but I was just going to go down there anyway and camp and do all that shit. But believe it or not, like I have a little small issue on my bike right now because I haven't been able to ride it much this year, and it's just a maintenance issue that now it's a part for the mid controls that's worn out that I have to replace. But the company's in Florida, and I'm trying to get the parts from Florida, and everybody's kind of getting shut down. So I'm like, up in the air if I'm going to be able to get it back together before this weekend or not. But
is that an essential part for you?
Yeah, on the mid control, so I can actually shift the gears.
Right. So it's tell them it's an essential damn part and get it overnighted to you.
I haven't called down there yet to see if the campgrounds are still open, but you would think that the campgrounds would be, because it's kind of social distancing, like they're saying, but I don't know. It's
They want us all inside, But so I've been reading a lot of things about the Sturgis, like, oh, they're checking it out to make sure. And a lot of people are saying, I don't care if you close Sturgis, I'm riding the Sturgis anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you going to do? Block the roads off? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's just going to be cheaper for us.
Maybe that's what all the tanks are for. I don't know.
No, I got to believe that event still goes on. Don't you think?
Not if everything's quarantined and no restaurants and hotels are open. Yeah. Then you'll be camping for sure.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know.
Then you'll be eating on it in the grocery store parking lot, and where there's a will, there's a way, I guess.
It is really tough to kind of navigate right now because we don't know the extent of it. We don't even know if it's hard to even tell, right? Because where do you get factual media from these days? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to believe the news. It's hard to believe anything you see on Facebook or Instagram. So it's like, how many numbers of what is it? And then, like here in Texas, I think we have like 800 confirmed cases. And I think Dallas County alone has 4 million people, and there's 800 of those 4 million people are sick.
Well, I think there's like 1 in 10,000 that can possibly get it or gets it. Or we have to be careful.
True.
It's like more people getting the flu right now. You got to be careful about people with the flu too. You're not going to go out and hang out and shake hands with someone that has the flu.
Exactly.
You're going to run and hide.
I'm just an optimist. So I think, in the next 30 to 45 days, things start to clear up, come back a little bit to normal. They're going to have to deal with all the business issues for sure.
It's going to become a huge financial issue before more than anything, I think.
That's my worry, because I think the impact that has, you talk about, the virus itself, it's major, but a financial meltdown that's a problem.
Yeah.
There's people need to, I think the cases of unemployment were like as high as they've ever been since 2009. It's just crazy.
So I guess back to bike stuff now.
There you go. Yeah.
Cut that whole set.
Yeah. So, Lance, you guys y'all thinking about doing any more upgrades to the bike? Or you thought about getting a new one yet? I know y'all's are pretty new as they are, but how do y'all, how many more years?
A little over 2 years old, and it's got about 45,000 miles on it. I've had 3 different bikes. I had a Road King and 2 Street Glides, and now my Road Glide. Mm-hmm. And each of them I put about 50 thou on.
Yeah.
And I get rid of them, and I wouldn't care. I'd just be, all right, new one. Now I'm like, God, I'm digging my bike. I like my suspension. I mean, whether it's Fueling, Saddleman, Clockworks, Cobra, Legend, everything that I have on my bike, I'm digging.
Yeah.
And I want to rebuild it right now. So I might run this one into the ground before I get a new one. Or maybe with all the riding we're doing, I might have to do something sooner. But right now I'm kind of happy with it.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, mine's coming up on 2 years in May, and I've got like 33,000 on it. And the CBOs, the most CBOs aren't ridden that much in terms of miles, and so the resale value on it, about 40, kind of starts to taper down. Mm-hmm. I probably will run mine for another year and just see what happens, and then I don't know, man. I'm kind of getting talked into these Road Glides. I'm not.
There you go. Come on, buddy. Come to the dark side.
I like the sparing just because my days of past, but I think he keeps pressuring me to get risers and a Road Glide, so I may have to cave to it.
No, it's
They have 45,000 miles on it right now, but he bought it a few months after I bought mine, or we'd be on pace.
Yeah.
Which I always thought it'd be cool. We need to get bikes at the same time so we could ruin them at the same pace. Yeah.
But then you got to build them a little,
Yeah.
So, but
that's what makes them yours, though.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But I'll probably run it another year.
So that's probably it. I'll run mine another year then, and we'll get them at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got I bought mine in September of 19, a few weeks after the 19 models came out. I'm at 27,000 right now miles.
That's
nice.
But mind you, though,
how many miles?
27,000.
Okay, good job, man.
But
I thought you meant 2,700.
No, fuck no. I don't even know what that's like. But no, the thing that really racked on the miles for me is last year, I rode to California twice, Sturgis, and for a few months span, because of some really shitty decisions on my part, my bike was my only transportation. So it had a lot of commuting miles on there. At least probably 4,000 or 5,000 commuting miles over the year, and then a lot of trips. But man, so far I haven't had any issues. I was riding it yesterday a little bit for the little shifter issue was just too much that I had to figure that out. And I was just thinking about God damn, this thing still pulls hard, runs good. I feel confident the way it feels and sounds that I'd change the oil tomorrow and come to California. You know what I mean? I need to change the back tire like you noticed.
Yeah, I feel the same on my bike. It's still strong and it does what it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's they're good, man. I don't, I hear a lot of people that they're thinking about the Indian or I hear a lot of people that get into this type of bike stuff, but then they spend the money and they make it look like this, but they never actually get to go and enjoy it, so they lose interest in it. You ever seen that with people?
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what happens with a lot of people is that they don't really, or a lot of people that are in this category, if you just get out and you start riding these things and go do some experiences like what you guys are doing, or try to find a group of friends in your neck of the woods that want to go at least, let's ride somewhere today, stay somewhere tonight, and then come home tomorrow. You know what I mean? Instead of all the hey, let's go to the bar down the street and then the other bar down the street and then sober up and then we'll come home. You know what I mean?
We're going to have a couple of trips for everybody, showing people how in a day where they can go and do some unbelievable stuff and be home that day.
Nice.
But we have some of that in the queue.
But I'll back to your point a little bit too, as well. Like, Lance and I have kids. The kids become a priority. That's all you do is focus on the kids. The kids get to an age where I'm going with this is they get to an age and then they're out of the house.
Yeah.
And so you lose kind of that relationship with your wife, and not that ours is bad, it's great, but you lose because you're so focused on the kids and you forget about each other a little bit, you know? And when I got the first Harley, we bought my wife a helmet, but she didn't want to go ride, right? She saw me on dirt bikes and ATVs and side-by-sides and whipping things around, and she's like, you scare the hell out of me. I don't want to ride with you.
Yeah.
But I'd call him or I'd go out, and so finally one day she said, I want to ride. And so I put her on the back of that Road King and set her up, and I'd call her on a Friday coming home from work and saying, pack the backpack. We're going to jump on the bike. I don't know where we're going. Mm-hmm. But Harley, and I say this affectionately and funny, but I mean, it helped us get kind of like when you look at each other when your kids are gone, and they're away to college or whatever, and you look at each other across the couch and you're going, now what the hell do we do?
Yeah.
You're
bike,
right, Harley.
Yeah, the bike actually brought us, closer again, because we could just go take off and be in Ojai or be up in Kern and spend the night and come back home the next day and real easy, leisurely ride.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think there's many ways to look at how you do this stuff. I mean, there's guys that are just weekenders that are, they go to Neptune's but you know what? God bless them. Get out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we've loaded up our bikes and our wives and left LA, and that night we were sitting there with the sun still out in Zion eating dinner.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's like what, a 500 and they do it and they're good about it,
Yeah.
No complaints.
But I also, you mentioned Indian and that. Lance and I have been kind of tooling around with some things. Like, I love Harley because of the American tradition behind it. Mm-hmm. I also love Harley because if there's an issue, and we travel a lot, you travel a lot, 27,000 miles, you can typically get to a dealership.
Yeah,
right?
Or find somebody that knows how to work on them.
Yeah. We met some guys last year coming into Sturgis. They lost an oil filter. They stopped in an auto parts store, and they went in and they found out that an Opel, like an 82 Opel or something, oil filter would fit on and it got them, the ability to limp into Sturgis where they could get it fixed, right? But, we've been toying around with, how do we create some interest in the vlog? And is it, does he get on an Indian or I get on an Indian, he rides the road glide and we go out somewhere and look
Run the Indian
and then
off a cliff?
Yeah, and helps us explain to people why we like the Harley,
Yeah.
Or he gets in a Porsche and I get in a Porsche and we do the same loop.
Right?
I mean, I don't care about the challenges and what bike can tow a trailer and what bike can carry cement around the street and one bike can ride a big giant guy over here or whatever. I like my Road Glide. I bought my Road Glide. I like the way it looks, and I don't give a crap about any of the other stuff other than how bitchin' my bike is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there, go.
Yeah, that's kind of the conversation that a lot of people keep trying to have about it. Well, not even so much anymore. Like take this coronavirus out of the situation. Like, nobody's even talking about the Indians anymore. Like, it was a big thing right around November when they were releasing them, and and all the people that were being paid to go ride those bikes were doing all kinds of content for it. But now I've seen like maybe 3 on the road at bike events and shit. And the dude.
Here's a great way to look at it. If you really want a bike that's going to have all these features and all this quality and the perfect bolts, and it's going to have metric stuff, and you want a reliable bike, go buy a Goldwing. You'll have one of the best engineered bikes out there.
Yeah.
I don't want a Goldwing. I want a Harley Davidson.
Yeah. Exactly.
Story. I've never heard one person come from Europe and go, I rented a bike and I want to ride Route 66. They say, I want to ride Route 66 on a Harley.
Exactly.
100% of the time.
Drop the mic, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a deal, man. Like it's like everybody's saying, it's a good thing that they're doing this for the competitive nature of pushing Harley to do more shit. But you know, bottom line is, it's like the bike is, you know, it's just it's kind of cheaply made. If you've ever seen one in person, like if you ever like sat on one, like everything feels hollow and plastic, you know.
Right.
And even like the hand controls and the master cylinders and all these it's very cheap, you know. It's like Harley, like let's say Harley doesn't give you 120 horsepower out of the gate. They don't give you radial front forks, which they probably will start doing soon.
Right.
You know, they don't, let's just say that. Now, what Harley does give you is higher quality components on the bike initially, right? So that you're sitting on a bike and it feels nice. It feels like it's worth $20-something thousand. And then you can add on to these other things, as opposed to like, it feels good when you buy an exhaust or buy suspension or buy a seat for your bike. You know what doesn't feel cool? Going to buy upgraded hand controls because you got some cheap bullshit from Indian out the gate. Like,
right.
You got to go upgrade the basic stuff. Like, it's not cool enough. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's a thing.
Everyone what they like, but I like the Harley Davidson. I like the whole vibe of Harley Davidson.
Yeah, it's what connects a lot of us, man. And you know, like I said, if Indian keeps on making stuff, they'll probably eventually evolve into a very nice brand that, you know, with a little bit, not that they don't have history, but we all know that the Indian that's here is not the history of the Indian that was there. Right.
No, so they didn't have Polaris back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, more power to them for effort, I guess, you know. But
hey, thanks for making Harley kind of snap to it and want to do some stuff, you know, to improve their bikes.
True. I mean, I always thought it was wild that like an FL front fender, which is basically the fender that comes on both of the front of your bikes, is the same fender they were putting on the bikes in 1940 something, and somehow it still looks cool as shit.
Yeah, that's a cool vibe.
How's that still cool? And I know it's cool, but it's just, it blows your mind thinking like, wow, that's crazy that they don't have to change it that much to still give us what people really want. You know what I mean? And I don't know, like, who knows? It's all cool as long as they keep making bikes. That's all that matters.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the stigma of the breakdowns and all that stuff that it had way back in the day. It's not there anymore. You know. I don't know. I just, he told me last year he was getting an Indian, and I'm like, I'm not riding with you, man. Yeah. Like,
I know how to mess with them.
I'm just sticking straight Harley, dude. Like, go find another Indian dude.
Yeah, like there's, I don't know, man. It's just different, but a lot of you know, like they're putting money in the industry, so I give them credit for that. You know,
absolutely.
But whatever, you know.
And look, just, you know, people get out and ride. That's all we're asking them to do.
Right.
You know, on the vlog, and if you can't, then learn through us a little bit. But
well, people always say they live vicariously through our rides.
Yeah, I've done that with. I mean, I have a handful of people that really inspired me to want to get out and do cross country riding, and I haven't had a chance to get them on the podcast yet. But I mean, I was inspired by somebody. I hope that I can inspire people. I know you guys are inspiring people, and you know, like, hopefully getting younger guys like those 20-year-olds to be jazzed about jumping on a bike and going across country. Like, that to me is a more sustainable passion to have for your health and your wallet, considering like the other one, which I know like Lance, like your son's company is kind of thriving on this, is like getting kids to stunt and do wheelies on bikes, right?
But the interesting thing is Lance now has a road glide.
Yeah.
Cole Steely, his buddy, has a road glide. So all the young dudes are now getting baggers and riding, want to go. Now they're like, we want to go on trips with you guys because we're getting baggers now.
And I would say,
they did it all on their dynos.
Yeah, I would say like that's a lot to do with like Seabear and the way he's riding, like tearing up the roads, plus riding across country with you guys.
Yeah, I just got a text from him. I mean, just a few minutes ago. He says, "Hey, you got a minute?" And I said, "After my podcast."
Yeah, he's fucking cool, man.
But
like,
yeah, he's a great guy, and you know, he's also one that really enjoyed the trip, and he was able to. He didn't do it on the bike that he took, but you know, Luke from Fueling had a built bike there, a Road Glide, and I mean, he had a lot of fun with that thing, like up the river we were talking about, and
yeah.
But he also enjoyed just the ride across to Sturgis. I mean, it wasn't always wheelie and burnout. It was just being with the guys and rolling at 100 miles an hour and passing everything we could, and then the next stop and having lunch, and just the camaraderie that you build with the group of guys like that. You know?
He actually said it was one of the best trips he's ever taken.
Nice.
Because he was people he liked. He got to ride and do an adventure, instead of just a burnout in a parking lot.
And the old guys bring some wisdom sometimes, so we're talking to them a little bit, about life events, because we've experienced some of the stuff.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. They're all good kids.
Yeah, they're all great guys.
So Sturgis is again on the path for you guys this year, right?
Yeah,
100%.
What y'all got some pretty gnarly ideas for the route? Are you gonna do the same one or do another one?
We're gonna do a different one, and we got our little core group going again, and we're kind of just already looking at different places to stay, and so yeah, we're definitely going to have an epic Sturgis run again.
Yeah, my
go ahead.
I was going to say that my Sturgis run this year is actually we're only going to spend we're going to kind of take your kind of model on this thing. We're only going to spend about 3 days there, mainly to do the FXR and Dyna show. And then that Monday we're going to leave Sturgis and head west and go into do the big Beartooth Pass. We're going to camp in Yellowstone. And then we had so much fun last year on the way to go to California last year in Colorado that we're going to spend a lot of time just zigzagging across Colorado to see as much shit as we can, because man, that state has a lot of hidden gems. We're going to go see Doc Holliday's grave in Glenwood Springs. So
rolled through there last year on the way home from Sturgis.
How awesome is Highway 70 right there? Going one of my most favorite rides, dude. I think I talked about it on the podcast we did last time, and I was blown away that an interstate highway could have such amazing views and scenery right there. You know what I mean? So we're definitely doing that section again.
You've got the tunnels, you've got the river, you've got trains, you've got just the great walls of the mountains. I mean, it's just everything.
It's beautiful.
Hey, have you done the Rocky Mountain National Park?
Where's it by? Probably not, because the only thing I've done is Pikes Peak. I've ridden through a couple things, but I haven't done anything else.
You're going to zigzag. Look that up. You'll be at 11,000 feet on top of the world, and it's got these great sweepers, and it's amazing.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I tried to do Pikes Peak last year, and I bitched out about 10,000 feet, I think. It might have been because I think Pikes Peak is around 14, because they have like a cluster of mountains that are like the 14,000 peaks. And it's going back to what we were talking about earlier on this podcast about the wind. So the day before, we're getting beat up on 25 with the wind coming across the highway, and then I'm on the bagger, fully packed out, and we start getting onto the part of Pikes Peak where you're like on the very small 2 lanes, and it's like stop and go traffic, and there's like buses coming around the corner and cars, and the wind's blowing hard, and I'm just like barely, holding on to this big ass bike, and I just started having a little anxiety attack, I guess. And I was like, all right, guys,
Really?
I'm good, right? Yeah, dude. I don't know what it was. I couldn't do it. I regretted it immediately.
We would have made you run. I would have tied a rope to and pulled you around.
Yeah, so usually on our runs, like the Sturgis, we leave California, and whatever has rubber on asphalt, for some reason, we have to pass it all. Car, truck, trailer, bikes. It's like a thing, and we all got our full face bell helmets on, and we're like, they probably see the California plates and go, who are these guys from California that are just
jerks?
Yeah, jerks. We do it clean, though.
Yeah. You looking up that place?
Yeah, so
It's in the Rocky Mountain Park.
Yeah,
it's state park.
It's kind of northern Colorado. Estes Park.
Is it close to Steamboat Springs at all?
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, it's like
Why isn't it showing?
It's over through the Rockies, but it dumps you out into like Longmont. No, he's got it coming up here now.
Have y'all done the $1 Million Highway there yet?
Yes.
Is it worth it?
That was worth it too. Wasn't that we also did, was it Wolf Creek? That was just.
No, Wolf Creek was great.
Oh my God.
That's a canyon through Colorado.
Another great, I'll send you some of their routes that we took, but I mean, there's some great riding up there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool because we had a good time in Durango last year, so we were going to go back there again. And basically, we were going to zigzag and go from Steamboat and zigzag across to Durango, and then we're going to drop down into Ruidoso, New Mexico. And then we got a really badass like condo that's like on the side of a mountain that like it sleeps 10 people, and there's exactly 10 of us going on this trip. So, we'll have like a view of the whole mountain range in Ruidoso, New Mexico. So there's some actually good gyms in New Mexico as well. When you guys start getting through there.
Well, we did a really cool trip, and we're going to do it again and vlog it. Sonora, California. Mm-hmm. You go up through the Sierras and you zigzag back and forth on like Highway 4 and 120. You end up on the 395 and back to the Sonora. So you're through the high Sierras, and a lot of the roads there are almost like the road in Sturgis, where it's single lane. Mm-hmm. It splits up, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
because it's one-way traffic, and you're up in the high Sierra. It's amazing. So we'll have that as another blog coming.
I camped out at a campground right in the foothills of I think it was Three Rivers, right outside of Fresno, I believe. Dude, that place is beautiful. And I really love riding foothills, man. That's one of my favorite rides because you get longer sweepers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've ridden Teledragon before. Not a big fan, to be completely honest with you. It's a little bit too tight. You're just. It's kind of like being on PCH, but trying to ride it super fast. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're just constantly in and out of turns, and there's no sweepers that you can take. Like I always try to tell people that one of my favorite little rips is like the Sturgis to Deadwood rip, right?
Yeah.
It's just nice long curves that you can kind of take them pretty fast, and it feels real cool riding those.
Zigzagging through hundreds of riders that are scattered all over the road. The thing I don't understand is like when we're coming in a train and these riders are all over the highway. I mean, they're taking up the whole thing. When I'm riding and I see people coming behind me, if I know they're really on it, I'll move over and say, you got it. They don't move over, so we have to like needle it.
Yeah. So me and my buddies that were up there last year, we got there a little early, so we did Spearfish Canyon. And but one of the dude races Dynas on tracks, like road races. And then the other dude is Steve Chamberlain, which is like he's just a beast on riding, big baggers and hitting them on the ground or cornering and whatnot. So we come through what was that canyon? Spearfish Canyon. And the first we kind of got a little taste of it, and then there was just a big group of people, and we're just like, fuck this. We're not this is not going to dictate the rest of it. So I'm surprised that we didn't get beat up at the end of that run because we were splitting lanes, like lanes meaning there's two lanes going this way, and we would just go around them with shit coming just to not safe, but it was nowhere near as busy as it normally is in Sturgis because we were a little early there. But yeah, dude, we were pretty reckless on that whole situation. And then that's when the one after that, like after we stopped at that little gas station at the end of Spearfish Canyon, and then we started going a little bit further south, that's when we got pulled over by the first cop. And, we started kind of toning it down after that because we hadn't even been drinking or anything. We were just out there hitting those roads and having a good time. So,
for sure.
Well, we did that same thing, and we went through about 20 bikes. And when we pulled down to the stop sign, they all wanted to pull up and fight.
Nice.
And so we pulled up around. We didn't really even see. They were like clamoring, and so they followed us. And then Lance his son went a different way, so we pulled over, not realizing that they were still trying to fight us, right? And we had a couple big guys, and we stepped off the bikes, and they just went right by. They weren't going to have any of it.
Fucking nerds.
But it's like, move over a little bit. Get, if you're going to take the whole road up, that's not polite either.
No. Yeah, those dudes come out there. They probably ride 3 times a year, and they're just not. They're not thinking about the fact that Sturgis is a lot of different things for a lot of different people. So, what is it to them to just kind of move over and let faster people go through?
And like Lance said, we wear full face helmets and we're menacing looking, all with thrashing on the back. They think some gang running around.
Yeah. False local, see your face.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. But yeah, that's how was Laughlin though? You said that y'all do that one quite a bit. I've heard nothing but bad things about Laughlin personally, but I've never been.
We just usually, again, everywhere we go, we end up making the ride there and back the journey.
Yeah.
I don't know what event it is. It's like, that's the excuse to go. And then we're having fun, you know.
3 years ago, we were there like every weekend. And we went to the 2 week and it was just, it's not the best show in the world.
Yeah.
There were some major issues that happened years ago with the gangs. And so that kind of shut everything down. But it's nothing like, the Sturgis. I'd like to try what's the one up in Reno? The bike night or the bikes?
Yeah.
There's a rally up there that's, I'm not interested maybe so much in Bike Week in Florida.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to miss anything.
That's a different, vibe too.
Well, if we get off our bikes, all of us, there could be 10 of us, and we get off our bikes and walk into a restaurant, really can't tell that we just got off ours.
Yeah.
Because we're wearing jeans and we don't wear like the fringe and the leather and the bandanas, and we don't look like.
And y'all don't say "hell yeah, brother" every 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that that's bad. Some guys, that's their vibe, and
you wouldn't know we're riding Harleys. We would just think we're guys.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad, but like me and my buddies, we just call like those older Harley guys the "hell yeah, brothers." But now we make fun of it so much that now we're saying "hell yeah, brother" to each other. We've inceptionized ourselves into doing this shit. It's funny, but
well, we're in the land of all show no go out here sometimes, and you pull down at Neptune's and you'll see a guy roll up there and he's got a blade strapped to his leg, and he's all decked out, and it's like, he's a doctor, an attorney that just is going out for the weekend and putting on his makeup costume and gear.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was kind of saying about you guys earlier, is that like usually most guys in your age group that are as dedicated to motorcycles as you guys are have that kit going on. You got the long beard and the tattoos all over the place and rings everywhere. Just rings.
Yeah. We don't have chaps.
Yeah.
Oh, chap.
we don't. Yeah.
So, like I said, I think it's like just the evolution of like a lot of what Harley is now. It doesn't. It's maybe not looking like that guy anymore. It's looking like you guys or the younger guys with Vans on. Like when I was at Neptune's that time when I came to see you, some dude was talking to us because we all wear Vans when we ride, and I see it's all worn out from you dragging your feet. He's like you're gonna lose your foot. I'm like, well, it's stayed on pretty good since Texas, so I get it, I get it, but like I don't know, like there's the real conservative rider that's like, you need a plan for the wrecking, and I'm like, no, I need a ride for not wrecking is what I need to do. Some of that is riding a little bit faster than traffic. Some of it is just being. Not everybody's a super aware rider, right? Some dudes just wreck all the time because they're not in tune with what's going on. Like they don't have it mentally to stay connected with what's going on. That guy should probably heed their advice and wear, boots and leather and pads and everything. But I'm pretty solid, man. Like I don't ride past my abilities, and I'm pretty attentive to the road. I could go down at any moment, but I guarantee you it probably will be from getting hit from behind would most likely be the way I go down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Well, let's hope that never happens. But
yes,
we have it a little different out here too. Like we've got a lot of traffic and we split lanes. And you're taking a risk doing that, but and it's typically not the motorcycle guy's fault. That it's someone that isn't paying attention, and we're looking through the back windows of people's cars to see if their head's down.
Yeah.
Are they on the phone? What the hell are they doing? And you got to be acutely aware of what's happening, and we take our lives in our own hands when we do this lane splitting. But
one of my biggest watched videos on Instagram, and it was from a long time ago, was us splitting lanes on the 405. My wife was filming, and people were like,
"What are you
blown
doing?
away? How do you do that on a bagger?" It's like, no problem.
Dude, I did it on a big wheel bagger the first time, so it's not hard. But I really wish that more states would start adopting that. Texas, we have bad traffic. In all the major cities, the traffic's bad. It's not LA bad, but it's fucking bad. You know what I mean? And we are a pretty decent sized motorcycle state. We do have all year riding. We usually would see like 20-degree weather for a couple days, like never longer than, it's like a spell and it'll go through. But every major city in Texas has highway construction going on. So there's like massive pileups everywhere. And then you got all these bikes that are trying to commute because the cities are growing and there's just no real incentive for them. But if they did, it would really open up commerce for motorcycles here as well.
Yeah.
More people would ride, which means more people would be able to make money off of maintenance and things like that. It'd become more of a motorcycle-centric state the way that California has,
Speaking of commuting, I mean, you said something earlier, but I don't live far from here. I live like probably 3 miles from my house, and I ride around the reservoir, but I don't have a personal car. Yeah. It's just my Harley.
Nice.
That's my car. And that's why I have the tour pack on it, because it's my trunk.
I saw you put your hat in there all the time.
Yeah, it's mainly for the hat.
Yeah.
But it's trunk,
Now, let's get it straight. He got that damn thing not for his wife, not for him packing on trips.
For the hat.
He had that damn suitcase turned upside down on his bike, and he's like, I can't run that. I got to get something nicer for the hat.
Right.
Now he's got a blade on his side, too. He's rolling.
You're going to get a 6-gun shooter, too, next? Is that the next one?
Yeah, I got the.
Get your blade out.
Oh, it's just my
Look
cool
at that.
little like.
Oh, that's cool.
It's got a Thrashing logo on it right
that
there.
on his side. We walk into places.
It's a good tool.
Yeah, dude. I usually buy a knife for a bike trip and then I lose it by the time I get home.
It's in the very back bottom of the bag.
Yeah, it's that thing that rattles all the time when you go over the dirt roads and shit. Well, cool, guys. So, like the website, like I said, I think I brought it up at the beginning, but, I think it's really intuitive. I think, like, you guys doing the vlogs and then having the map as well on there for people to kind of follow along or find the routes that you guys are taking. I think that's really awesome. What else do you got in store for the website versus, just some more clothing type things, or what are you guys thinking?
We're going to basically have a store that you can buy everything that's on our bikes that we dig and probably a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So we are going to be selling on our website. What you need: Thrashing floorboards, you need a Clockworks windshield, you need Legend suspension, you need Cobra exhaust, whatever. We're going to be a dealer to sell it.
That's cool. Yeah.
The website is 2lanelife.com, just like our Instagram is at 2lanelife, and the vlog is just 2lanelife on YouTube.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think from a social perspective, we want everything to kind of mirror up, and so we've got the Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got the website, and then the vlog, and so if we can kind of connect all those the right way, we really would like people to go to the website because, to your point with the maps, we wanted this also. This is our travel and what we do. Mm-hmm. But if you're a person searching for, I don't know, Death Valley, and you're in a car, or you're renting a motorhome, and our piece comes up and you like the map or you like kind of the places we went, then good, use it. That's what we want it there for. It's more about the motorcycle community, but it's also general enough that, if you're not in that space, hopefully our search, as we get better at this and grow, that search engine optimization comes up and people, can find us. And the website's pretty much done except for our store, which we expect that'll be done by the end of this week. Actually tomorrow, maybe first thing Monday, but it should be something that, we're comfortable with the equipment that we're running, and we're comfortable in recommending it as we think it's good stuff, and so people will have an opportunity to buy, and they'll have an opportunity to also talk to us about it.
That's cool.
What's working, what's not.
Yeah, and everything we're running, we have been running before we came up with this idea.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really into it. So if someone says, what do you think about your windshield? Well, I can tell them why I will always run it, because I like it.
Yeah. I mean, literally with these companies, we've got, 150,000 miles on their stuff.
And they're basically all our friends. I mean, we're working with Maxima now, We're going to sell their product. But back to the apparel, we have a T-shirt and a hat going right now, but we will have long sleeves and we'll have hoodies. We're going to, as soon as things roll, we're going to step up into more of that, because why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
you guys are also like, we're all three of us are like calendar buddies. From the Clockwork calendar.
The Clockwork calendar, but we have some great photos. Yeah. And I also do the hand lettering on helmets.
Yeah.
I don't do helmets as good as you do, where you really get into the artwork. I just take a guy's helmet and do the old sign painter name or slogan, whatever they want on it. But I have people asking me now, hey, can I send you my helmet and would you paint? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the thing about helmets is like, I try to tell people to consider their helmet like their urns for the year's memories on those trips, right?
Absolutely.
And whether you're doing a custom paint job like what I do on the helmets, or you're just getting some cool shit written on it that means something to you, or you're just buying a helmet and throwing a sticker on it. Like, exactly. It's all the same. It should mean the same thing. Maybe my collection of years of helmets on the wall looks pretty cool because they're all custom painted, but it doesn't mean that your collection can't mean something to you the way you want to do them. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
So yeah, whether it's a sign paint like what you're doing with the lettering, or it's just sticker bombing it with all the brands that you like, or you go into the fucking Hobby Lobby and getting you some paint pens and telling your kids to draw on it. You know what I mean? It'll probably be cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to probably be selling the Bell helmet as well that we run. Yeah. And when we're doing that, if people want to have lettering on it before it goes out to them, we can do that,
Nice. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. And I think it's smart too, by just, instead of trying to, it's something we've been thinking about doing too, instead of chasing sponsors, just like I use these products, and, even though like maybe that company isn't in a position to sponsor us for it, maybe I'll just become a dealer and sell it, and make that money that way. That way I can continue to fund what I'm doing. Cause, it's, I mean, for me, I have a business, but I don't have any employees. So when I leave to go on a bike trip, no money's being made. You know what I mean? Right. And, the wife is taking care of things basically. she's holding it down for me. But, I was hoping that getting into like a storefront and doing things like that and selling items too, it would kind of create a small enough income that I can kind of like, when I am gone, I can still cover myself for being gone. You know what I mean? So y'all planning on ever getting overseas and doing any riding?
It's not really it entered my thoughts at this moment, but you never know what can happen. I mean, if someone presented something to us,
we talked about it a little bit with Lance. We were, what are some of those epic moments that you can do? Yeah. Which it's not time to do it this time of year. Yeah. Right, with all that's going on, but I could see us at one point being over in Italy or somewhere and like doing a vlog out there for a little bit. I mean, he gave his wife for Christmas a trip to Italy, and they were going to be gone already.
So glad we didn't book anything.
They didn't go, but I could see us doing. We've gone to Hawaii, which isn't out of the country, and ridden, but I could see us in destination points. Yeah. And being out there and doing some stuff, even if it wasn't on a Harley. I mean,
you never know.
Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm going to take a picture of you guys. All right, guys. Well, hey.
When is this air?
Either April 1st, so it'll be like an April Fool's deal. No, it'll either be April 1st or I might do it on Monday. But I've already kind of hit my quota for the month for podcast release, and just because of all this stuff going on, I don't know how many I can get recorded. So for the sake of having content for April, I might save it till the 1st, which would be, I think, Wednesday, I think is the 1st.
Or maybe do it the 2nd. I'm like a superstitious guy. I want this thing to rock.
Oh, it will. Trust me. My audience is itching right now because I haven't released some. Like after this week will be, I think, 2 weeks that I haven't released anything. And
really,
yeah. So it's coming, but I'm trying to get caught up on work too while things are like this, or while I can actually, and reaching out to people to get them on the podcast that aren't really being super affected by this whole nationwide shutdown that we're dealing with is the other thing, because maybe some friends would be down to do it, but they're dealing with a lot of shit right now, so getting the head space to go on here and talk about something more positive than all the depressing shit taking place everywhere, I mean? That's kind of another thing. So I don't know, I really wanted to at least get this one, and maybe if I can get another one recorded between now and Wednesday, I'll probably release this on Monday. So it just depends.
Well, if we get more people over to our YouTube page, they can sit there if they're bummed out or bored and watch some cool riding.
I hope so. I hope they check you guys out. I hope they get inspired by it, and I hope they start, in light of all the shit going on, I hope that they, they stop postponing things and start making things happen now, because, this.
So what, you want to do another one of these tomorrow?
I need to work.
So one of our quotes is, "We are here to inspire and show you how rad the open road is." Let's go.
That's a good one. Y'all are professional. Y'all got quotes and shit. You have like a business motto and a thing.
We have business cards.
Business cards? Holy shit. What do those look like?
From the bike.
I'll show you a card.
So yeah, everything is just like 2-lane life, baby.
There you go. That's cool.
We gotta stop saying that so much.
Nah.
People are.
That's gonna be like y'all's hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, yeah, you know what? The business card thing, like, I've always been against it because for me, I don't sell a product. I sell a service. And when people take business cards, then I usually get price shopped, and I don't like that. But now with the podcast and other things like that, I would rather hand them a business card that has links to all this stuff. So, hey, man, check this out.
That's all we're using.
That's the reason we have it. We could be in like Grand Canyon, and someone goes, "Well, what's your thing?" We just go, "Here."
Yeah.
There it is.
I will have to. I'm gonna have to change my tune on that whole idea, because I think that's the way to do it.
Well, we end up writing stuff down. Like, here's what it looks like. No, just here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cool. We can't wait to hear it. And love talking to you. We're gonna hook up with you soon for sure.
Yeah, we need to do a ride someday.
Yeah, I'm gonna be I'm definitely coming back to Cali this year, probably later this year, and I'm gonna try to do it solo so that I can kind of be freed up to move around more. You know what I mean? See what happens. So, but yeah, definitely, I want to ride more SoCal, and then get with you guys, and we'll go do something somewhere. You know what I mean?
Be fun.
Excellent.
All right. Well, hey, thank you.
Hey,
appreciate
the time.
thank you, man. Had fun.
For sure.
Great day.
All right, guys.
Talk
to you
later.
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 Hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to thank Lance and Gaylin for sitting down and talking with us for 2 hours. And I want to appreciate you. I want to thank you guys as well for checking out this podcast. And we're going to be coming back with another one really soon as possible. I also want to thank our sponsors, SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com, TeamDreamRides.com, PaintHuffer.com, FastLife13 at checkout for 10% off, ShopTmax.com, and Lexan-Moto.com and FastLife at checkout for 15% off. If you guys are, in the market looking to, do some cool shit, don't forget about our Campout. It's going to happen, I hope, unless we all, turn into zombies or some shit like that. And for the most part, man, you guys just, stay safe and use that Lysol sparingly. And if you guys got any toilet paper, send it to your boy, because I'm running out, because everybody's hoarding around here and shit. So anyway, you guys have a good rest of the week. Hopefully you're doing something cool, or at least essential or whatever. But anyway, we'll catch up with you later. Thanks for checking us out. Peace.